Hi, this is Ms. Holtz, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to use Excel to analyze our data that we collected in Tracker. So in Tracker you should have 4 videos with your position time data over here, and we want to insert that data into Excel. So you want to open up an Excel document like so, and at the bottom it'll say Sheet 1. I'm going to label this 1 filter, or 3 filters, because this data that I'm going to show you right now is for 3 coffee filters. And you can add multiple tabs like this, and you can label them how many filters there are, so you can keep track of your data like that. So in the 3 filters tab, I'm going to copy and paste my position time data. But I only care about the data where my coffee filters are falling at a constant velocity, or where they have reached terminal velocity. So a curve on a position time graph tells us acceleration. So this means that the coffee filters are accelerating. But once my slope is a constant value, my coffee filters reached a terminal velocity, or a constant velocity. So I'm going to pick a point on here where it changes from a curve to a straight line. It doesn't have to be exact, but that point looks about right. And down here, it highlights the data where that point is. So I'm going to copy, starting here, all of my time and position data. Control C to copy. And I'm going to go to my Excel document and paste it in my cells right there. So what I essentially want to do now is find my velocity and use that to determine my acceleration. So I'm going to label these columns V and A for velocity and acceleration. Now, if you remember from the last video, we talked about how we can find velocity from a change in position over a change in time. So right here, I'm going to take the velocity and I'm going to calculate a velocity between these 2 points, and then between these 2 points, and so on. So right here, I'm going to enter in an equation so that Excel does that for me and I don't have to enter it in every single time. So in that cell, I'm going to write equals, put a parenthesis, and I want to do my change in y first. So y2, which is this cell, I'm just going to click on the cell and it'll automatically enter it into my equation. I'm going to hit the minus sign, choose the y1 cell that I care about, end parenthesis, slash for divide by our time 2. Well, let me back up. I'm going to backspace there and put a parenthesis because it's important. It's not going to calculate the right thing if we don't. So I'll put a parenthesis, I'll hit time 2 minus time 1 and parenthesis and hit enter. So it already calculated that number for me. That's the velocity between those 2 points. But if I click on the cell, you can see right up here, it still shows what the equation is in that box. Now at the bottom of this cell, there's a little green square in the bottom right corner. And if you click on that square and drag down, it's going to calculate all the velocities between every 2 points. And I would make sure that your equation is right for every cell before you go on. So for example, this cell right here is subtracting B5 minus B4. So it's subtracting that cell from that cell. And if we click on this again, it's dividing that by A5 minus A4. So A5 minus A4. So that checks out. That's the right equation that we want. And if you notice, we lost a data point here, a cell, because we have more, finding the velocity between 2 points. You can't have a velocity at every point. You're only going at the spaces in between. So we're going to lose one velocity for every position that we have. Now that we have velocity, we need to do the same thing for acceleration. So down here, we're going to go one more cell down because we need to subtract change in velocity over change in time, which if you look in the last video, we had our V2 minus V1 over T2 minus T1. So we're going to be doing basically the same thing in our Excel document. So I'm going to hit equals again to make an equation. Choose the second velocity that I want. Start with a parenthesis, that would be good. enter the second velocity I want minus the first velocity, end parenthesis, divide, parenthesis, and we're going to use time on the bottom. So make sure you're using the right data. You want to do velocity, change in velocity over change in time for acceleration. So I hit enter, and it gives me the acceleration between those two velocities. Just like the velocity, we're going to take the bottom right corner and click and drag down, and it should copy our equation all the way down. And just to make sure, we'll click on one and see that's subtracting C6 minus C5. That checks out over A6 minus A5. Okay, so our equation went in there correctly. Now we have accelerations between every different velocity here. But we want to find the average acceleration. We want to find the average acceleration during its terminal velocity. So what is its acceleration during that point in time? So to do that, I'm going to click on a cell down here. It can be kind of wherever you want, but I would put it underneath the acceleration column. And I'm going to hit the equal sign again because I want it to do a calculation for me. And in all capitals, I'm going to type in average. Hit a parenthesis, and I can highlight all the cells that I want it to average together. So I'm going to highlight all the accelerations, type in an end parenthesis, and hit enter. And it should give me the average acceleration for all the data that I typed in here. And for the sake of being clear, I'm going to label this average acceleration so that I know what it is. So that's how you can use Excel to find your velocities and your acceleration and your average acceleration so that you can ultimately find the force of drag on your coffee filters.